love it with some passion. Rubber band and the money that keeps stacking. Got a honey who come with elite fashion. She too fine, I tell her that thing magic. You ain't a hustle, you broke, well that seems tragic. Gotta catch in the fields like deep passes. I tell her plug if it's sticky, then please bag it. I need the best cause I grew up beneath madness. Need a Matt Burgundy mercy.
What is going on, Bills fans, NFL fans, and football fans? It's your boy Jay Spence the King, and today we are going to get it in. We're going to talk about the AFC East and everything we got going on. My man Antoine Staley is actually traveling to Buffalo, so he's not able to jump on with us. And then my man Steros for the Girls is out of commission tonight, so I'm being joined. He was supposed to be here. I'm going to just throw that out. I'm going to throw him under the bus. I'm going to do it like that. I'm going to throw him under the bus. But he was supposed to be here, had some last-minute things come up. So, as usual, actually asked Sarah before everybody canceled on me. So, this isn't like a substitution. Sarah was going to be a part of the show anyway. So, Sarah, what's going on with you?
I don't like being an option. Come on, man.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it wasn't like
you wanted me on here. Come on.
Well, no, that's why I clarified. It was like I actually asked you before everybody else canceled. It wasn't like, you were like a last minute, like, yo, can you? So, because Sterling actually, well, I'm not going to throw him that much under the bus, but I threw him under there enough. He got ran over twice. His legs is gone. So, what's going on with you, though?
Not much. Just chilling, getting ready to head out tomorrow to Buffalo. I'll be traveling just Saturday and Sunday, and then I head back out early next week, like Wednesday.
Okay. So, it's going to be cold.
It's supposed to rain, too, so I'm not looking forward to this Sunday. They say 70% as of this morning, so it will be definitely like 39 degrees, they say, and 70% chance of rain. I'm not looking forward to that.
No, so I'm not even going to give you like any warnings or anything like that, because last time I did, you actually did what I told you not to do. So I'm not going to like mess nothing up this time around, because last time I forget where you were going or what the game was, but I'm like, don't lose your voice. And then you ended up losing your voice. So
I ended up losing my voice. And it happens a lot when it comes to these games, the rainy weather and everything. So I hope I don't lose my voice. And I was actually joking with Jerry Ostrowski yesterday about the same thing. He was like, I hope it rains. I was like, I don't. I'm gonna end up losing my voice if it rains. And he was like, it's fine. You can hold up cue cards and we can talk that way. I was like, okay.
Yeah, no, I don't know how much. I mean, I'm sure Jerry could make that work. He seems to be pretty awesome with all of it. I don't know if I could make that work. When my voice was lost that 1 week, I think that actually it was the week of the home opener. I was in shambles. I was like, I got to get this fixed before Tuesday. I can't go in a code of conduct like this. I want to shout out a couple people. My man Richard Rush is in the building as always. He is always a supporter and always making sure that he's in here, commenting. And actually, he also takes care of the bad comments that we get. We get a lot of those little weird comments, and he'll take care of those for us. So I want to shout out my man Richard Rush, one of the best there is. And then my man Daryl Domes is in the building. What up, Team Dome? Let's get it. So let's get right to it. This episode might not even be because I don't feel like it's as much to talk about with these games that we have coming up for the weekend. The bulk of it is going to be the Bills conversation, the Bills and the Jets, redemption. It's time for redemption. Shout out to Charlie. Charlie's in the building. Always love talking to family. But so the Bills, Jets in Buffalo. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Patriots traveling out to the Valley to try and get down with these Cardinals that can't seem to win. It's like they want to give games away. I don't know what's happening. And then we have Miami. They second game of their West Coast trip. Last week they lost to the 49ers. This week they're going up against the Los Angeles Chargers. I hope, trust me, I need them to just start losing games. I hope Blake's not listening for once. If Blake is listening, I'm sorry, man, but I need y'all to lose. Take those L's. And speaking of that, let's get into it first, and then I'll make some announcements later on. But so let's start with the Miami game. I think that's a good place to start. So they lost last week to the 49ers, and I was happy about that. Let's just kind of go back and talk about that game. What do you think happened? Because they had a backup quarterback on the other side of the ball. Yeah. And everybody, like, I think even Joe tweeted out, he was like, Jimmy G is out. Congratulations, Miami, on the win. And then it turns out that Brock Purdy, Brock Purdy, yeah. Yep. He did the damn thing. So how do you feel about that?
I stopped watching the game, so that was the reason why San Fran won. No, I got yelled at for watching the game by a couple of people. Every time I watched, it seemed like you were one. Yes. Every time I watched, like Miami would score, and I was like, okay, this is enough's enough. But no, I think that Tua looks different against certain defenses, and I think that when it comes to San Fran, I hate to knock Buffalo's defense because we've been injured all year long, but I do think that they have one of the best defenses in the league. Their offense kind of came alive also, and no knock on Jimmy G, but I just feel like they don't need that person at quarterback. They have the little pieces where they can hand the ball off, they can do the little dump passes, and they're fine. They function well that way, and they took advantage of it. And a lot of times we say that when you don't have film on a quarterback, it's hard to defend that. So I think that it's San Fran going forward. It's going to be a little harder for Purdy to win. But I enjoyed it. I thought it was hilarious, especially for all of my Dolphin fans who lost to Mr. Irrelevant. I thought that was great. But I think that that's it. I think that the Dolphins kind of get exposed against certain defenses, and I can't even say anything about our game because that game was just an embarrassment of riches for Miami, and it was terrible for us with all the injuries and the weather and how hot it was. So I can't wait till next week so that we can finally put that question to bed. But I think that that's what happened with San Fran.
Well, I agree with you, but I'm gonna take a little bit further. Like, I think San Francisco has the best defense in the league. Like, I don't. There's a couple around the league that you look at and they're like, oh, these guys are good on defense. Like the Jets, I think have a very good defense, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But San Francisco, I mean, statistically, and like they just passed the eye test. When you watch them, San Francisco just looks like a dominating, physical. Like they get to the quarterback when they want to. They don't allow much separation in the secondary. They stop the run. It's just like everything fundamentally they do it correctly. And so shout out to San Francisco for holding it down this week. We appreciate you in Buffalo. We appreciate you. But it was just weird. Like I said, they played against a backup quarterback, and like you mentioned, Mr. Irrelevant. Shout out to my girl Tiffany. She didn't know that was like an actual.
I'm so confused.
I'm like, she probably thinks you're being a jerk by calling him irrelevant.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my god, because I wasn't watching the game. For the people who don't know, I wasn't watching the game, and I had tweeted out, I can't believe the Dolphins are losing to Mr. Irrelevant. And everyone's like starts commenting back, and I'm like, I'm not trying to be mean. Like, what is going on? But I guess the commentators had said something during the game, and the people that don't know the last pick of the draft is Mr. Irrelevant. They thought they were just being rude. So it was kind of funny in the moment, but shout out to Tiffany. Sorry, I wasn't trying to be rude.
But it's like, you lose to Mr. Irrelevant, and then what does that do to your psyche? I mean, I understand, yes, the defense is great. So the defense stops the offense. All you got to do is score more points. And if your defense is stopping them from scoring, you got a pretty good chance to do it. But outside of that, you lose to Mr. Irrelevant. Like, what does that do to your defense? What does that do to, just the morale of the team? To me, like, I feel like if I lose to somebody who I'm supposed to dominate, that kind of gives me like for instance, and we're going to talk about the Bills and Jets. But when we lost against the Jets that first time around, I feel like Bills fans were demoralized because it's like, we're supposed to beat these dudes. Yeah. So like, what do you think that does to Miami? Like, how do you think they're going against the Chargers this weekend? What does that do to them going into this game?
I think there's some teams where you don't quite look at, I lost to this quarterback. It is, I lost to, Deebo Samuels. I lost to Christian McCaffrey. Like, I think that they probably are looking at it a little bit differently than losing to him. But it's the NFL. It happens, and they probably have their own little excuses that they come up with, and the fact that there was no film on him, and everything was kind of spur of the moment. You never know, but hopefully it was demoralizing enough that they go in Sunday and still don't know what the heck to do. But I'm one of those people also that I don't know if I want them to lose 2 weeks in a row, and then they go against us, and then they feel like they have something to prove, and it ends up being a different game. So, I wouldn't mind the L, of course, but I'm just saying, when it's in division, I just don't want them to play differently against us because they know that it would be, a must needed win. So, But again, if they lose, they lose. I'm not, I'm not rooting for them.
I'm just saying, shit. I want them to try to prove something against Buffalo in Buffalo. After, first of all, we should have beat them in Miami.
We
We should
should
have
have.
tapped that ass in Miami. And the thing is, again, I always give this a preface this comment by saying, like, this is not an excuse. We took the L. We lost the game, but it took a whole lot to go their way for them to win that game. It ain't gonna be the same type of situation in Buffalo. It's gonna be the same temperature on both sidelines. Both teams gonna be cold. It is gonna be what it is gonna be, and they ain't gonna be ready for
I
it.
hope we take the heaters away. That's all I know.
Unfortunately, we can't do it.
I know,
Unfortunately,
but it's it's karma. That's all I'll say.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm with you, but so I guess so for me when I look at this Miami game last week, the thing that stood out to me was you kind of talked about it, you alluded to it, is like when Tua plays against defenses that actually have more than one playmaker, or they have like a real
Pass
good
rush.
defensive, yeah, they got a pass rush, or they have a good defensive coordinator that can kind of scheme up some things and kind of do what they can to make sure Tua isn't like just going crazy with things. I feel like he's just not the same court. And he looks like the guy that we saw last season and the guy that we saw the season before that when he kept getting like they were playing yo-yo with him with Fitzpatrick, like pulling him and putting him back in, pulling him, putting him back in.
Yep.
I think we see that guy again when there's defenses. And if there's any team that outside of the Vikings and the Eagles, really, I guess I can't say the Vikings, but outside of the Eagles, if there's a team that benefited from their schedule, I think it's Miami. They just go up against these defenses. To me, they do. They go up against these defenses that, because even when we played them, it is not the Buffalo Bills defense that we're putting on the field in 2 weeks when we play them. Jordan Poyer wasn't in. Micah Hyde wasn't. That was our first, real week
Okay.
without
I thought you
Hyde.
meant like preseason, like before you even know what the the injury reports are. But
No,
there's
no,
not too
I'm
many
saying
teams
like,
that have been injured like the Bills. So
yeah, because and like last season, I feel like the Bills benefited from, like, if you look at the schedule and you look at the teams, it was like, oh no, the Bills are going to get some squads. But then you got to look at it. Last year, we played against backups, and like we actually
right.
played against Mike White last year when he threw the 4 interceptions. We had David Mills' first game of his NFL career. We had, so like we were playing against guys where it's like, okay, we should dominate those dudes.
Miami finished third last year, right, in the division.
Yes.
Yeah, so they're playing, it's same thing where we have to play the winner of every division that, we go against. They're playing the third team in every division. So, it tends to work in their benefit. So, they have definitely an easier schedule versus, than we do, just by the sheer, way of how we finished last year. So, they definitely have an easier schedule. Now, I think the NFC East, where they fall, kind of have the easiest schedule. That's why I think the Eagles are very good, and I had them going to the Super Bowl. I had them in Minnesota as the two going against each other in the NFC Championship game, which could still happen. Minnesota's showing some holes, but Philadelphia has one of the easiest schedule, if not the easiest schedule. So,
and that's what I said. Outside of Philly, I just feel like Miami's schedule, they don't have the same schedule as us. Like I could say that with confidence. Like we're actually playing some squads this year, and for us to be 9-3, I'm happy at this point. It's like, even with the injuries, we lost those 3 games by a combined total of 8 points. It's not like we got blown out by anybody. We've been in every single game. Josh has been injured and beat up, and so now. But let's still with Miami. So this game now with the Chargers, Keenan Allen is back. They haven't looked this season. I don't think the Chargers have looked like what we thought the Chargers would look like. Now, that could be because Justin Herbert had the rib injury. It could be because of several different things. But I feel like, they feel like there's still a slight chance that they could get one of those wild card spots.
Oh, they definitely can.
So with that being the case, I feel like they have something to play for in it. And I feel like now, like I said, they got Keenan Allen back. They got Herbert, looks like healthy Herbert to me now. Like he's making throws that it's like, okay. And then I think, obviously, Austin Eckler, I think, is one of the best, if not like top 3, top 4 running backs in the league. So when you combine all those things together, how do you think this game is going to go for them?
I still think the Dolphins are going to win. Unfortunately, I did pick the Dolphins to win, but in a more close game. I just don't right now. I just don't feel confident in the way that the Chargers have looked. Now, with that being said, if Eckler goes out there and has a game, I'll take that back. And he's done very, he's on my fantasy team, so I hope he has a game. I hope he has a really good game. But if he can go out there and actually have a good game, I'm talking to myself now. This is kind of cool. But if he goes out and has a good game and everything, then I, might change that. I think it'll be close, but I do have the Dolphins winning this game.
Yeah, I have the Dolphins unfortunately winning, but in my picks this week, I said that it was going to be the Chargers just because I want to pick against them. So I'm hoping that what's happening is right now they're going to hit that wall, and there's going to be one of those things where they just fall down to the earth, and it's like, okay, we're not the Dolphins, the mighty Dolphins that we thought we were. That's what I'm hoping. Like, I don't know if it's going to happen. They have the better team, they have the better offense. I feel like in every way, I feel like they have the matchup. Like they win the matchups, and
the Chargers need the win more than the Dolphins need the win. So maybe that puts them in that position where they feel like they go out there and they need to ball out, and they do. And it's at home. So, hopefully they get, a little bit of that home crowd behind them. I still think it's going to be a close game. I think when I was doing my picks, I had them within 3 points. So I just hope that LA can figure something out, because it would be, like I said, it would be nice to see Dolphins have another L in our division.
I mean, it'd be nice for me. I want them to have the L this week, and then next week when they come to Buffalo, I don't even know definitely, but I don't even know who they play after Buffalo, but I want to L that week. Like, I wanted to go from like they're 8-4. I wanted to look like, in like 3 weeks, they're going to be 8-7. Like, that's how I want to see them fall and hit
Sorry, Blake.
Yeah. Sorry, Blake. Sorry, Blake. Yeah. And you know what? I might as well throw
1 week to losing out the whole season.
Oh, what did I do there? But I just look. I know at this point it's almost like they're gonna make the playoffs for sure. I get it. I don't want them to. Like, and it's not because of Blake. I love Blake. Their fan base is like the most annoying fan base that I've encountered outside of like. There's a portion of Chiefs.
I know. I live with them. So
there's
actually,
a portion of Chiefs fans that get to me too.
Oh yes. So I was actually joking with a Dolphins fan the other day, and I said, what would be my greatest gift is if the Bills end up with that number 1 seed and the Chiefs end up with the number 2 seed, and they have to take on the Dolphins at number 7 for the first round of the playoffs, and they beat the crap out of each other. I was like, in the end, I wouldn't even care who wins. It would be like my privilege to watch them take on each other. So it would be fun. And especially, I mean, it's a storyline. You got, you would have Kansas City against Tyreek Hill for the most part. So
B said their fan base is so freaking obnoxious. I agree with you, B thing. Like, they are horrible, just trash. My man Charlie says, let's face it, the last time the Dolphins fans beat us, their fans thought they won the Super Bowl. And that's absolutely it. And I get that the Bills have had that moment. Like, I get that at that moment. Like, for instance, I don't know about, I wouldn't say this year, but the first time we beat the Chiefs in the regular season, it was like, okay, we're for real. So like, I get the feeling, but man, these Dolphins fans, I'm gonna just tell you, my fam says that Renaissance Man says after the Bills, he's talking about the Dolphins here. The Bills after the Bills, they have the Packers, the Patriots, and the Jets.
Yeah,
I think the Jets are a game that they can lose, and it depends on what Mac Jones shows up. I think that they can lose to the Patriots, and then the Packers. I tell you what, Aaron Rodgers over the last couple of weeks, he found a weapon, and that weapon is waking up. And I think Watson has like 8 touchdowns in 4 games or something crazy, or 7 in 4 games.
My fantasy team also appreciates him right now.
Yeah, I bet.
Great midseason pickup, I tell you.
Well, the thing is, nobody was going to pick him up because everybody figured like, okay, Aaron Rodgers is done. It doesn't look good. Yep. And man, I tell you what, he woke up. He really woke up. So, well, okay, enough about the Dolphins. We don't have to talk about them. Before we move on, though, I guess I will say one nice thing about the Dolphins. Buffalo Rumblings and the Finsider presents After the Snap podcast featuring Blake and Reed Ferguson. We are excited to announce that they are now a part of the SB Nation family, and we will be home to 2 active NFL long snappers. brothers, Blake and Reed, hilarious guys, hilarious show if you ever got a chance to watch it. But now they will be airing on Friday nights at 8 p.m. This slot that we're in at this moment right now. Chop Up will be going back to Saturday nights, and After the Snap will be live Friday nights at 8 p.m. So make sure you plug in, make sure you lock in. You'll get all this stuff for the rest of the season. You'll hear about what Miami thinks they have to do to win. And next week will be the first week that this is going when we're playing against the Dolphins. So it'll be a fun little matchup to watch the two brothers go head to head that episode next week. So you want to jump right to Bills and Bills and Jets, or you want to talk about the Patriots and because part of me, I just don't want to talk about the Cardinals. That's really what it's coming down to.
Are you going to go to the game on Monday?
Absolutely am. Okay. And this is how annoyed I am with the Cardinals. Now, so I'm a Cardinals fan. They're my NFC team. I guess that's how I could say it. I'm so annoyed with them that I'm very, very, very seriously considering wearing my Cam Newton Patriots jersey. Like I'm not. That's how close. That's how upset.
No, don't. No. That's no. I don't even have words for you right now. No. You actually made a comment once before, not only on a pod, you actually said that whenever you go to Arizona games, you never wear Bill stuff, you wear Arizona stuff because you were an Arizona fan. Don't call yourself out and lie.
I am a Cam fan.
Cam's not on the team anymore. You're gonna wear Cardinals.
Listen, these Cardinals games have been embarrassing. Okay, do you understand how embarrassing the last few games I've gone to?
So the last couple of Patriots games.
No, the last home game I've been to for the Cardinals, they played against the Chargers that we were just talking about. They were up and they were winning the game. They came back to lose the game by 1 point because the Chargers went for 2 with 4 doggone seconds left. They were up by multiple scores, and it was like, oh, they should have this one in the bag. And I told you before the game, during the game, before the game, I'm like, they're gonna take this L. They're gonna lose. They just find ways to lose. I thought it was gonna be a blowout, but then they proved me wrong there.
It was all those turnovers that it kept it close. Yeah.
And Kyler Murray, man, okay. I understand quarterbacks want to get paid. I understand that everybody wants to get paid. When you can get the bag and you're in a position to get the bag, I am all for players getting the bag. And I'm never on the side of the owners because the owners have all the money and the owners and blah, 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 right? Like, I promise you, I'm on the side of the players. But I'm on the side of the players when you do what it takes, and you deserve it. Like, when we talk about people like Lamar Jackson, it's like, get that man his bag. When he's not in the game is when they lose. When he's in, they win. Now, he's been injured twice, like back-to-back seasons. So that's a conversation to have when you're talking about Lamar Jackson. But as far as his performance and his play on the field, I can't be mad that Lamar Jackson is saying, like, yo, if Deshaun Watson is worth a fully guaranteed contract, then what the hell am I worth? Give me my coins. I'm cool with that. Kyler Murray? Are you kidding me? Have you watched have you watched them? I don't mean like look at the stats and look at some highlights. Have you watched them?
Yeah, I've watched him. And before the season, I said I wasn't impressed and that I didn't like the fact that they gave him so much money. But we had words about that earlier because you were like, no, Murray's the man. Murray's the man. I think that he got the money that he wanted, and it's now like, okay, well, I got the money. It doesn't matter how I perform.
Well, it absolutely freaking matters. And everybody out here wants his head on a platter. They want Cliff Kingsbury's head on a platter. They want the GM's head on a platter. All three of those dudes got to go. And I tell you what, I don't know. Do you watch Hard Knocks on HBO?
I don't. I wish I don't have HBO.
Listen, he's there's actual clips where, like, in the game, DeAndre Hopkins is like, bro, what are you seeing out there? Like, tell me what you're seeing. Like, that's how bad it is. Like, when your star receiver is like, just show me what you're seeing so that way I could try to see the same thing. He's making, for 5-yard gains, he's making ridiculous catches back here and under his legs for 5 yards. It'd be 3rd and 5, and you ended up, and you end up being 4th and 2 because you like, what are we doing? Like, just what are we doing? Okay, we're supposed to be talking about the Patriots. We're supposed to be talking about the Patriots.
Yeah.
How do you see this game going for the Patriots?
Well,
And I'm
I
talking about the Cardinals when I said bums just then. I'm not talking
yeah.
about Patriots
No,
this time.
I picked the Patriots, but I actually think that the Cardinals have a chance to pull this one out. So but I picked the Patriots because I feel like sometimes I'm bad luck when I when I pull for the Cardinals. So I think that they have a chance. I think it all depends on what they do on defense. I think that that's their biggest thing. When they have a good defensive game, that's when the offense starts to look different and better. Which is, like you were talking about the last home game you were at, they just shut down at one point. I think it was the second quarter that they had like back to back, pick sixes or something like that. It looked like it was going to be an absolute, no brainer that Arizona was going to win. So they just need to play all four quarters. And I think that they can beat the Patriots. We've already showed that, the Patriots are very, very beatable. So,
Yeah, with a good team, with a good quarterback, like
yeah.
that's when they're beatable. But first of all, my man said he said I didn't know it was that bad. Family, I'm gonna tell you, it's that bad, man. It's that bad every time. Like the last game I went to, man, against the Chargers, I was in the stands roasting the Cardinals. Like I had more fun roasting the Cardinals than I did actually watching the game. That's how bad it was. Like it's embarrassing, man. You got James Conner playing he's playing lights out. He's playing some of the best football of his career as a running back. He's doing a great job when he had a 3-week period where he was injured, and Benjamin took over. He came back. He's playing lights out. DeAndre Hopkins is DeAndre Hopkins. Nothing has changed. If anything, I think he got better because he's making even more ridiculous catches for short gains, like consistently. Then you talk about Zach Ertz gets injured, so we don't have the tight end. We don't have the guy that we traded for. The defense, man, Buda Baker. I swear,
he deserves better.
He does. Like, that meme when the dude sees the cat in the store and he comes out, he's like, I'm going to get you out of there.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I'm going to get you. I'm going to save you. Like, I feel like that every time I see him. And it's like, I just want to get this dude to Buffalo. Like, if we're not going to pay Jordan, and if Micah, who knows, hopefully Micah's healthy next year with those type of surgeries, you never know. I'm hoping that he's healthy, right? Give me a Buda Baker. Like, give me Buda Baker. Like,
I mean, I love Jordan, but dude, I'm sorry. If we could get, I obviously don't think we could, would become the same thing of whether or not we can afford somebody like that. So,
Buddha, we gonna get you out of there. I'm gonna get you out of there, Buddha. And then JJ Watt, God bless him, but he just ain't JJ Watt. You know what I mean? Like he J Watt. That's who he is, and that's okay. We get it. You get older, you go through some injuries. I'm older. I sleep wrong, and my back be gone for a month.
Do you think it's his age, or do you think it's his location? Because I feel like same thing with Jordan Phillips. He just didn't fit in to Arizona. Like I feel like JJ Watt just doesn't fit into, like you don't hear his name anymore. Like he was the defense in Houston. Like I don't know. I just feel like it might be the defense itself that he doesn't fit into.
There's some people that
JJ's 147 years old.
Daryl Doan said that dude JJ Watt is 147 years old. There's some people when you play, I feel like the system shouldn't matter. Like if you're that type of star, and I thought JJ Watt was that kind of star. Like so, for instance, you put Von Miller, break my heart. You put Von Miller in Denver. He's a beast. You pull him in LA, he's a beast. He comes to Buffalo, he's a beast. It didn't matter. Like 3 different type of systems. Beast. Right. You put Aaron Donald could play on every team in the league. It don't matter. Beast. Okay. JJ Watt was that kind of player too. At least that's how I saw him. That boy's J Watt. Like he's just got 1 watt, one he's not the dude. And that's okay. But the thing is, it's like when you allocate that much money to him, you allocate money to D-Hop, you allocate money to Murray. Now, you luckily you have Buddha on a rookie contract right now, but you got these guys, man, and it's like, yo, what are we doing here? You go and get Hollywood Brown, who was supposed to be like, okay, we finally have another receiver across from. We're supposed to be talking about the Patriots, but I'm just saying, y'all got to understand, like. I feel like I signed myself up for hurt. Like I've been a Bills fan all my life. Now the Bills are finally good, and then I move somewhere, and I'm like, oh, they NFC, so I can get down with them. I can root for them and still like be loyal to the Bills. And then I sign up for a team. Last year was great. Last year, they start the season off almost undefeated. They go like 11-1. Every home game is fun. They blowing teams out. They doing all this crazy stuff. So this year, of course, we're gonna re-up on the tickets. Let's go. Me and my man, like everybody, we going. Let's do it. Let's re-up.
Well, hopefully Monday night, it's a different story. I don't know. Murray gets an extra day. People joke all the time with his Call of Duty obsession. Maybe he gets an extra day to be able to do his actual studies and still play Call of Duty. Maybe it'll surprise us Monday night.
I'm actually like literally upset right now. I'm like this is not a joke. Yo.
Sorry, I shouldn't have asked if you were going to the game.
Okay, Patriots. So you mentioned they do look or they are beatable. Obviously, they're 6-6, so they're not like they're middle of the pack. Like they're literally what we call an average team. So, and that's not a shot at you Patriots fans if anybody's listening or watching, but it's just a fact. You guys are 6-6. It is what it is. I feel like offensively, when your offensive coordinator doesn't trust you as a quarterback, it makes it really difficult. Like it makes it really, really difficult to just have success in any, because the running game is going to work. I think I think you know how I feel about Ramondre Stevenson. Like you told me the other day that Stevenson got cut from the Bills, but you just said Stevenson was cut. And I'm like, what? Like I'm thinking it was Ramondre. And I'm like, what? What are the Patriots doing? And you clarify, like I really, there's two dudes on the Patriots roster that I just like, if I could take anybody from in my conference, one would be Stevenson, and then one would be my other, what's his name now? I'm having a brain fart. The dude on the defensive line, or he's a linebacker technically. Matt Judon. I love Judon. I love Stevenson. So offensively, offensive coordinator don't trust him.
I can't get it past the fact that you keep on calling him an actual offensive coordinator.
I mean, that's technically his title. That's his role.
I think that's the problem, though. You can't have Matt calling these calls. Like he's never been on offense. He's never coached offense. Like I think I think Bill Belichick felt like he wanted things to be his way, and the only way that he could have it be his way was having the staff be exactly what he wanted with his staff. So they have several missed opportunities. I think they actually have a very good defense most of the time. I think that it shows, and on offense it just depends on what game they call. And it's like once in a while you get Stevenson involved, and I actually don't even know personally what even rewatching the game, was Stevenson just not effective against the Bills because of our defense, or was it their play calling? Because he just couldn't get it going whatsoever. And I'm fine with that. Obviously the outcome is what we wanted, but it kind of surprised me. So I think that is the problem, is what they decided to do at offensive coordinator. He shouldn't be calling plays.
Well, when I go back, and because I've watched the game a couple times, I feel like Stevenson, he had a couple good runs, like a couple that were like really good, and then they kind of just got away from him. And I think it was because we were up, But I tell you what, he gonna have a great game this Monday. He gonna have a fantastic game this Monday because the damn Cardinals don't know how to play defense and stop anybody. I was shocked that they held Eckler to what they held him to when they played the Chargers a couple weeks ago. But Ramondre, if you got him on your fantasy team this week, start Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah, I know. I traded him to you, I think.
And I have him in like 4 leagues. I'm in like 9. Don't judge me. But start him. If you got him, start Ramondre Stevenson. If you got it, really, hell, start Mac Jones if you got him. Because I'm going to just tell you, I'm gonna just tell you, the Cardinals can't stop. They can't hold water with a cup. Okay,
who's gonna have 3 interceptions and everyone's gonna come at you yelling?
You know what? Buddha's the only reason why I go to the game. He's the only reason why I enjoy the game. So I can see that happening, but they'll still find a way to lose it. Buddha could have 3 pick sixes. He could run all 3 of them boys back for a touchdown, and they'll still lose by a field goal. Guaranteed. Freaking bums. I can't stand it. Like, what? Let's move on.
All right.
Bills Jets. Because wait, who do you think is going to win the game? The Patriots. Before we move on, the Patriots.
I picked the Patriots to win, but I honestly think that personally, I think that the Cardinals can. But I did pick for my money bets. I picked the Patriots.
I'm going on DraftKings tonight, and I'm putting everything I got in my bank account on the Cardinals to lose. Every dime I got. The money line is going with the Patriots. Like, what are we? All right, Bills Jets. Redemption 1.0. Next week, Redemption 2.0. There's a lot of things I'm looking at this game. The pregame rumblings pod that drops Sunday mornings. Check that out. I got a nice little 25-minute pod that I kind of break down the things that I'm focusing on for each game. But I'll go through a couple of the points and I'll get your opinion on it. The first thing is I need to see the growth in the maturation of Mike Jones. Mike White. So last year, the Bills were his first start. He threw 4 interceptions, and I know he's been talking a lot in the media about, like, hey, I learned a lot from that game. I'm really trying to put that behind me, but I can't wait to kind of play these guys again and kind of just see how far I've come. I don't think he's grown that much. I think he played against two terrible defenses. I don't think that he's a different guy that we've seen since last year. How do you feel about the matchup between the Buffalo Bills defense without Jordan Phillips, without Von Miller? How do you feel about that? And potentially without Matt Milano? I know he practiced today, and they said that they feel good about it, but they're not sure.
Yeah, I think Milano is probably my biggest concern. I feel like at defensive tackle we're strong enough and deep enough that, Jordan's always going to be missed, but I feel like we'll be okay. His size, I think, is missed more than anything else. But when it comes to Mike White, I don't think we actually know the answer yet. I think that last year he kind of came in, again, there was, no film on him whatsoever. He had a great game. And then, against us, he was just terrible. And I think that, and then didn't start again until, week 12 of this year. So I think that it'll, kind of be, the same thing. He's had a couple of good games, but it's also, against some not so great defenses. Now, I believe the Minnesota game, which does have a decent defense, he still threw for like 300 yards. So I think that he could potentially have matured a little bit, but I also think it's just, not knowing what you're really going up against. It's, he has 2.5, games under his belt right now that people can watch and inform an opinion about. And one of those games was against us, and he looked terrible. So I'm looking forward to showing that he's the same guy as he was last year. I wouldn't mind some 4 interceptions. I think Poyer would like to have an interception back, because considering one was taken away from him. So I think that, I think that we're fine. I obviously we're going to miss Vaughn. You can't replace Vaughn. And, it's kind of who's going to step up. And I think Shaq Lawson loves to play against his old former team. So I think that, he's going to have a game. I think Root is finally healthy and can start showing, what he was doing in the beginning of the year. So he hasn't had a sack since, I think, week 3. So I'm looking forward to, or week 4, I think it is. So I'm looking forward to him getting back out there and improving what we all thought, which he was on the road to, a double-digit sack season, and then the high ankle sprain kind of sidelined him.
I just want to say, so for everybody who's listening to this by podcast form, in the comments here, my brothers are laughing at me for being so frustrated with the Cardinals. Look, I can't help it. I'm sorry. This is how I was with the Bills. So, like, the thing is, so I started doing a podcast when the Bills got good, though. Like, when I moved is when, like, we got Steph, and, like, literally, actually, I moved, and then the trade for Stephon Diggs happened, like, a week later. So like this has been a good time that everybody has gotten to know me and I've gotten to know everybody. But prior to this, if I was doing a podcast when the Buffalo Bills had EJ Manuel, you would see the same Spence. It would be bad. So like now that like in like Kyler's supposed to be the dude, and they gave him this money, so that means for the foreseeable like 5 years at least, I got Kyler Murray. Like I got Kyler Murray. And then the thing is, I know some teams have had the intestinal fortitude to fire coaches or fire GMs, even though they're winning. The Titans fired their GM, even though they've had winning season after winning season after winning season. But guess what? That's not the Cardinals. The Cardinals just gave their GM and head coach extensions, and they plan to keep these dudes together like they're winning games, like they're freaking Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott. That like, no, that's not what they're doing. Why are we giving these dudes money? So they gave Cliff Kingsbury all this money. They gave Kyler Murray all this money. They gave Steve, like, why are we giving these dudes, these bums money? And now, I tell you what, I'm just not going. I'm not re-upping my season tickets next year. That's what it comes down to. I'm not re-upping the season tickets next year. I hope the Cardinals are paying attention. I hope they're paying attention. You just lost a customer. I'm not, because I want my seniority. I'm still gonna go. But the point is, these dudes are bums, man. They're bums. But back to what we were talking about, I just had to say it. So yeah, I agree with you about Mike White. I agree with what you feel like. You know, I don't think he matured. Obviously, you play a game, you learn some experience. Those reps matter, but I don't think he's matured enough to where it's like, okay, now I'm the quarterback to take this team into the future. He's not a franchise guy. He's not the dude that's going to turn it around. To be honest, I still think Zach Wilson is better. I just think his attitude sucks, and I think that you know, he needs to be humbled and really understand that he needs his team and he needs to perform for his team. So my second point that I'll write about in my article and do on the pod. So you mentioned Novine, you mentioned Groot, and you mentioned some of these other players. Can we talk a little bit about my dog Tremaine? Okay, like I feel like this game is going to be one of the games that, especially if Matt can't go, I think all season we've seen Tremaine play at an elevated level. It's a contract year. He's playing for the bag. I think this is going to be one of those games where it's just like, I'm going to really be able to go on Twitter and talk my talk. Like I'm going to be able to go on Twitter and be like, y'all really got me messed up. All the stuff y'all been talking about my dog Tremaine. Where my joint? All the stuff y'all been talking about my dog Tremaine for the past 5 years, 4.5 years. He gonna get bodies on these boys. He gonna just smack. He gonna lay the smack of down on these boys. And I feel like this is one of those games where it's gonna be so evident. It's not even gonna be like, you know how he sometimes he'll change the trajectory of the game because he's big and he's there, but the play is not a big play. So, you know, I think this game he's gonna have big play after big play, and I just feel it in my spirit. I don't know how else to say that. How do you feel about Tremaine in this game?
I wish I was as confident with you without Milano. I feel like I love Tremaine. You know, I love Tremaine. I just feel like they play differently when they're on the field together. And, you know, it's not a, you know, diss on either one of them. I just feel like when both of them are out there, they don't have to worry about the other one getting their job done. And when one of them's out, then the other one has to kind of pick up the slack. So I was like the pick six. I was reading the comment. Sorry. So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he has a great game. I think we're going to need him. You know, but I hope Milano plays as well, because I think that when they both play, they're both the best versions of themselves.
Well, no, I agree. I feel like when they play, like they're the linebacker equivalent to Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer. Like the unit of them, there's nobody better. Like as a unit, when you have both guys, it's like, oh man, we got the best linebacker tandem in the league. We got the best safety tandem in the league. I'm hoping that that Kyer Elam kind of turns into that as a cornerback, and then we can say that about him and Trey White. If we can have like just layers of best units or best tandems in the league, it'll be really difficult to beat us. And it's already difficult to beat us now, but what is happening with Kyer? You know, he was a healthy scratch this last game.
Yeah, there were some people that said that it was he wasn't really a healthy scratch, that his ankle was still bothering him a little bit. And then you read other things that, you know, I guess Sean McDermott said that they wanted to kind of give Xavier Rhodes that chance to see what he's got. You know, whatever the actual story there was, to be honest with you, he hasn't been playing all that great, you know. So I think statistically, Benford was our our best corner. So, and he's been injured. So I think that that's kind of one of the reasons why, they maybe kind of slapped him on the wrist and said, you're going to be out a week. We need to see what else we got out here. And maybe it, sets him straight. We did that last year with McKenzie, where we sat him a game, even though he was healthy.
He needed to be cut. Forget.
I'm sorry, I said the wrong name.
I almost said something too. I had to catch myself. I'm live. I can't just talk that talk. But McKenzie's playing well over the last few games. Thank you, McKenzie.
Give him his flowers. Give him his flowers.
Playing well. Keep on keeping on. Yeah, let's keep on trucking, Isaiah McKenzie. But okay, last point or the last thing that I'm going to kind of focus on is now on the other side of the coin here. We're talking about the Jets, and I think I hate to give too many compliments to the Jets as an organization, but I think their defense is. They're not the best in the league because the 49ers are, in my opinion. But I think if you really take a moment and look at everything that they've been able to do, I would put them as a top 5 unit in the league. And they're strong on the defensive line. Sauce is playing like, he's not playing like a rookie. He has moments. Like, obviously, he got the first play of the game, he got ate up by Stephon Diggs. There's other moments that he just, he gets caught. But overall, he plays big. He plays strong. He doesn't allow much separation, much space, and he's playing big time. How do you feel about their defense, and what do you think the key for the Buffalo Bills on offense? Like, what does Josh have to do? Earlier, we had this whole debate about him running. We had this whole debate about all this other stuff. How do the Buffalo Bills need to attack this defense of the New York Jets?
Can we have extra men on the field to take over for Keenan Williams and who else? CJ Mosley. And I mean, they have the names on defense, and they've done a really good job the last couple of years in the draft, and then, keeping some pieces. So I don't think their offense is as scary as their defense is. It's one of those, especially now that Breece Hall's out. They've found, I don't know if Carter's going to be back, but if he's not, they found, I think his last name's Knight. His first name starts with a Z. I can't think of his name, but he's their second string, and he's actually been running really well.
Yeah, he has. And look, last time we played them, Hall also was out. He already had the ACL injury, but they absolutely ran the ball on us in that fourth quarter. Like, they controlled the clock. We couldn't get off the field, even with Vaughn. We just could not get off the field. 3rd and 4, they were running for 7. 3rd and 8, they're running for 11. And it's just like, hopefully that's not the case. But yeah, they find guys on their practice squad. They find guys off the street that just seems to run the ball.
That's how, I'm not going to say for, our rushing attack, but we kind of were like that too. Like, we would bring these people up from our practice squad and they'd have a game. It happened earlier on in the season where we, brought up a couple of defensive guys and they had, a great game. But, I'm not going to diss the Jets as much as I want to, because I'm going to try to be humble before our game. Yeah. I'll do all the talking on Sunday right before the game. But I'm not really concerned about their offense as much as I am about their defense. I think their offense can only beat us if our defense doesn't show up. So I think our offense can beat their defense as long as our offense shows up. So, I think that if we do what we have been doing the last couple of weeks with our running game, getting both Cook and Hines involved a little bit more, I'm looking for it. Zonovan, thank you. Zonovan Knight.
We always have the dopest people in the comments.
I knew his last name. I could not think of his first name. But someone else also mentioned in the comments that Sauce holds every play. Everything I watch about him and read about him, going back to college, because I watched him at Cincy, quite a bit. He does get away with that a lot, and it'll be interesting to see if it's kind of the first year where he's getting away with it, and then they kind of get a little bit more in tune with that, and maybe next year he doesn't get allowed to do it as much. But it is something that people talk about all the time. He's very handsy. He holds a lot, so we'll see.
Well, I'll tell you what. I don't like to say this, but it's true. If it doesn't get called, it's not a penalty. And he's playing at a level this year where things aren't getting called and referees are allowing him to play. And if that's the case, look, I can't hate on him. The dude is playing like he's playing well. He got an interception against us, tricked Josh on a play. Well, Josh had a bad game. He had a bad game the first time around. So what are you expecting out of Josh's game? Let's get a little stat line. I didn't get to do this on Hump Day because Joe dissed me for his regular job. So let's in the comments, we got a couple people with us. So let's do some stat lines for Josh and a prediction for the game, and then we're gonna go ahead. Actually, I want to touch on one more game before we leave. So let's get these stat line and prediction, and then we'll touch on the last game and we'll get on out of here.
Yeah, my prediction's been 27-17. Since I started thinking about it earlier this week. So I'm going to stick with that. I've been calling too many blowouts and then it's not a blowout. Last week I did the same thing. I called it a little bit closer and then it ended up being enough for a blowout. So I'm going to keep it semi-close. It's within the spread. And I have been definitely giving Josh way too many yards every week. So I'm going to bring it down a little bit because I think that we're going to be running the ball a little bit more. So I say about 275, and then obviously we got 3 touchdowns and then the 2 field goals.
My man Antoine Staley, earlier today, I asked him so I can include it in the show. He said 34-20 Buffalo. And I'm like, wait a minute. This is our in-house Jets fan. And he said Buffalo's going to win 34-20. So I think the consensus is that the Bills are going to win this game. You're not going to lose twice to the Jets. My man Daryl Dome says Josh is going to have 302 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the Bills will win 27-13. I'm going to go obviously, I think the Bills are going to win. I am going to talk my talk this week. I'm going to talk crap. I think, with it being Mike White and even with the defense being as good as I think that they are, I think our offense is better. And I think that first game around, I don't know if the Bills kind of went into that game looking past them. I don't know if they just weren't prepped. I don't know I don't have an excuse and I'm not giving one, but we lost that game. Period. They outplayed us. They were more physical. They showed up and they punched us in the mouth. I think it's our turn. It's redemption time. It's close to the playoffs. We're looking to do it. I'm going Buffalo Bills 35. These Jets, I'm going to give them 13 points. And I'm going to say Josh has 3 touchdowns through the air, 1 on the ground. And it's about to be a massacre. It's about to be a massacre.
Oh, I look forward to it. As long as if I'm going to be drenched, I hope that it's going to be a good game.
Get a poncho. I got to get Jay Spence the King ponchos.
All right, I won't laugh. Sorry.
Why would you laugh at that?
Because I'm literally picturing like your face all over it with
boom, right on there. Like,
yeah, no.
I was about to say something, but it's not show appropriate. So let's get the last game I want to get in real quick. We got about 5-6 minutes before we got to get on out of here. I just want to talk real quick about the Cleveland and Cincinnati game. I think obviously, so it's been a year and a half, almost 2 full seasons that Deshaun Watson hasn't played meaningful football. And he looked like it this past Sunday against the Texans. He absolutely looked at it. The defense won the game. But then on the other side, Cincinnati right now is playing like, okay, we're ready. Like what I'm saying about the Bills, Cincinnati's playing like that too. They're like, all right, it's time. We about to show up and show out. And they're doing that. This would be huge for Bills fans. This would be huge for really the AFC in general if Cleveland was able to beat Cincinnati. How do you see this game go? You're shaking your head already like, nah, it ain't happening.
I physically cannot root for Cleveland. I don't want to see them gain any more momentum where they could potentially get in as a seventh seed. We have enough to worry about with like Lamar being injured, and there's potential in the North that things could really get shaken up. So I'm pulling for Cincy for this game. Now, I think Cincinnati has been looking ridiculous. I mean, they went 2-3 without Chase, and so they've just kind of started to figure things out. Let them win this game, and then they could start, not figuring it out again soon right thereafter. So I don't want to root for Cleveland at all.
We also gonna get Team Dome ponchos out there too for everybody that's Team Dome. It's going down. But no, I hear you. I feel like obviously with Deshaun Watson being who he is and what he's done, and then the way Cleveland just like rolled out the red gold carpet for this dude, it's like, yeah, I understand that completely. At the same time, I don't like. I don't know what it is that I have against the Bengals. I don't like the Bengals. I like Joe Burrow. I do like Joe Burrow, and I like
He's
Jamar
the
Chase.
reason why I'm not a Burrow fan, but also maybe it's because I wasn't an LSU fan. So for the most part, I don't know what it is about him, but he rubs me the wrong way. So
he got the same it factor that Josh does. I think his attitude is different. He carries it different.
Okay,
But
yes,
on the field, like when he's playing, he carries the same it. Like when you watch him, he just has moments where it's just like that dude.
Yeah, it might be just his personality that I'm just not a fan of, but it is what it is.
My man Daryl Dome said, "You bringing that hate, that college hate, to the league. You got to leave that where it is."
No, that's not true. That's not true because there's plenty of people on the Bills that I leave it alone. Kyer came from Florida. I left it alone. So.
Well, because he's on the Bills.
Yeah.
Well, no, but I mean, because he's on a bit, you forgive once they make the Bills roster.
Well, I mean, I guess maybe that's where it is. But regardless, I just don't want Cleveland making it to playoffs. I feel like they deserve the rest of the year punishment. I wish that the league would have kept it the whole year as a punishment. And I might feel a little bit better about the situation moving forward. But I feel like I just don't want the organization winning. Yes, it has everything to do with Watson, but just the way that they handled the whole thing, I don't want them to benefit this season because they did all this very dirty. It was very dirty. In my opinion.
All right. Well, and for the record, next season, my new college team is the Colorado Buffaloes. Shout out to my man Deion Sanders. Prime time. He ain't hard to find. Go holler at my man Deion. Listen, let's get on out of here, Sarah. Let everybody know where they can find you and your content.
All right. So you guys can find me on Twitter at Sarah_Larson. And then on Thursday nights at 9 p.m., I am one half of the 3-Man Rush with Jerry Ostrowski.
And y'all already know how I do it over here. It's your boy Jay Spence the King. Y'all can find me Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Friday night, well, now Saturday night on Buffalo Rumblings. I love y'all. Take care of each other. Love each other. Live in peace. And as always, stay positive, test negative. Go Bills.
Go Bills.